So I'm out here at Talus Point State Park. Over the years there's been some tragedies with regard to drowning here, and the park has put up some signs here, as you'll see. The first two things I want to tell you about this area is there are two things that you shouldn't believe: that the water is shallow near the shore and that the water is deep further out. There are plenty of instances right around here where that's just not true. What I did before I started this camera is I drilled 8 holes right off the beach. And if you see that area over where that van is and that white truck, you'll see people all summer long, and even further over there near the clubhouse, walking out 100 yards up to their waist. And you'd think that'd be okay to do anywhere. And what I worried about with people is that they'd read these signs, and I think the state's trying to do what they can, and they'd walk out 5 or 10 times and they'd always be up to their waist, and they may think that it's like that everywhere, and it's not, and I'm going to show you why. Luckily enough, we've had super cold weather and the ice is frozen crystal clear. And I'm going to show you where I drilled these 8 holes that I'm going to mark, and then after that I'm going to take a GoPro and I'm going to put it underwater and kind of give you an idea what it looks like. But this is right up to the edge of the beach. People swim all summer long. It's very busy. And most places you can see bottom. And as I show you out here, if you came out here all the way up to where you see that white pickup truck, you're going to see relatively shallow water. Pristine, beautiful sand, foot, 2 feet deep, 6 inches. And if you go out further, there are even places where it's an inch or 2 deep. On a windy day, you'll find there'll be areas where the friction of the water allows there to just be bare sand way out there. So it's reasonable to think that a kid would look out there and see somebody standing up in a foot of water and think that the whole area is safe. Well, as you make your way towards the clubhouse, you can see this down here. You can see through all this, and it just subtly gets a little deeper. All around in here you'll see a lot of young kids splashing all summer long, having a good time. But look what happens when you get here. About 7 feet deep. This is the first hole that I drilled. This is about 10 feet deep, which I will take my GoPro and show you in a minute. This is about 11 feet deep. You can see how close we are to the beach. So if you were over there and you walk straight out, you'd be surprised how far you could walk without even having the water over your waist. But the closer you move this way, that's when the problems start with regard to the depth of the water. As I said, I have 8 holes drilled. And I'm going to put a camera down there and show you. There's all sorts of debris on the bottom and what have you. The ice is about 10 inches thick right now. And as you move this way, this water is very deep. Actually, you can come right up to the beach and it's still about 10 to 11 feet of water. So you could walk out, step off, and be in a bunch of trouble in no time. Look how deep it is here. But what I like you to remember the most, if you're going to bring people out here, if you're a poor swimmer yourself, you see how deep it is here? Is look over here in the 8th hole that I drilled. And how close I am to the beach. And you're in about 14 feet of water. And it is at 8 feet to the beach. And if you look over here, you can see where the drop off is very substantial. It comes right up to the beach and then drops off to about 10 feet. So you can imagine here, if you were in the summertime having a good time, sitting here right on the edge of the beach, and all of a sudden you walked out because you saw people way out there and you were in big trouble. You know, the point isn't to scare people, but it's to make you aware that those signs are correct. There are deep drop-offs, but they're not everywhere. And that's what sets you up to drown. See a pressure crack form. This wasn't here yesterday. And you can look over all around this area, much deeper. You go from 1 foot to about 10 feet of water in no time. This whole area. That side, not so much. This side towards the clubhouse, big time. So remember that. Clubhouse and the point. Be super careful. Another thing I want you to know is the water levels fluctuate quite a bit in the Great Lakes. They're actually down now. So all this can change depending on the level of the lakes. Now right now, see, here's the point. You can see the clubhouse, and I put orange cones to show you where these 8 holes are drilled. But if you look at the back of these signs up here right now that the state put up, warning of deep drop-offs, when the water was high, these signs were underwater. So you would have had to walk out quite a ways before you'd have met that drop-off. But it still happens because people assume that it's going to be shallow for a long way out. Well, let's assume that the water levels stay this way going into the summer. Well, now the beach line is 60 feet closer to the water than it would have been before. It's extended because the water's low. So rather than people on the other side of these signs sitting on blankets, they're going to be up to the water, and that's where the problem comes. If you came here 5 years ago and you remember walking out 50 feet and it was up to your waist, those days are over if the water's levels stay this way. So just remember this. You see how close I am to the beach? That's all deep water, which I'm going to show you with the GoPro. There's the clubhouse right there. This is the beach line. These signs are where the water line used to be.